So nothing else today. I feel like my RBF is on point. Been kind of a rough day. But before that, there was this really weird thing that happened last night. And like so the people I was dog sitting for this week, they got back into town last night. I picked them up at the airport. Well, they got in around 11:30. So about 10:30 I went over to their house to potty the dog one more time and then be there and ready to take their car to the airport. When I was leaving our house, pulling out of the garage, I had this weird vision pop into my head where like I saw this turtle. It was like a decent sized turtle. I don't know, size of a basketball. Crawling into our garage. Obviously there was nothing there. But it was just this weird flash. Like I didn't even look at anything. It just popped into my head and just that quick was gone. So then today, my brother was over at our house and he went to leave. His family with him. We had Gracie earlier today, and then they were picking her up. And he comes back in the house and he says, "You have to see this. This is kind of weird." It's like, what? So we go out there, and there is a little baby turtle, probably not even the size of a $50, that had gotten squashed by the garage door. It's like, this is weird. And now I'm like wondering what that connection is, because that's kind of jacked up. It's like, but I literally had this image just pop into my head as I was leaving. It's like, okay. Didn't know what to do with it. I suppose I probably should have gone and looked, but I mean, would have been looking for a basketball-sized turtle and not a $50 sized turtle. And maybe a spirit's living large, I don't know. But that was really weird. Don't really know what to do with that. Don't really know what that means. It's just this weird thing that happened. And I mean, I wrote it down immediately. And it's like, with any luck, I will remember to go to my class this Wednesday just to share that story and see if Annie has any thoughts on it, because that was fucked up. Yeah. Anyway, so yesterday afternoon, I was feeling kind of wiped out, so I decided to take a nap. And I knew my dad would be back with Gracie after about an hour and a half or so. Like, that's still a decent amount of time to rest and then be good. Except for then what happened was they got back, dogs started barking, Gracie got all excited because I was in my room, and she loves going in there because as much as I tell her do not mess up the bed, it's already messed up anyway right now, she goes out of her way to absolutely destroy it, which is why she doesn't get to go in there very much. But if I'm already asleep, then yeah, she tries to do it anyway. Anyway, she comes in there and jumps on the bed and is all trying to talk me into staying there. And she wants to lay down and hang out in my room. And then Taz, because I hadn't gotten up and Gracie came in, you know, of course, he was still barking from them having pulled into the driveway at all. And yeah, so he came and stood on the dog bed that's next to my bed, And so it was right up by my face, and he just kept barking. It's like, the fuck do you want? This is annoying. Stop it. I hear you. And he just, like, was pretty insistent and pretty annoying. So we weren't getting along real well in that moment. And mind you, I'm waking up from a nap, and it's already kind of leaving me frazzled. Well, then I look at my phone, and it's like 4:45 or 4:45, and I notice I have a text message that I missed. And Gail, when I was picking up from the airport, has a message saying, "At airport," with a frowny face. And my immediate thought, because of course it had been one of those sleeps where when I woke up I wasn't really sure what was what and what was happening, other than I had a dog barking in my face and the kid yelling in my ear. I was like, but you're not in India until later, right? I'm not late to pick you up. And I started being all ready to have this meltdown, because it's like, I'm pretty sure she said midnight, and it is definitely not midnight. So she did say yes. She hadn't thought about how it sounded or how it might sound. It's like, you know what? It's just been one of those, moments for the past 10 minutes. I just wasn't. It's just aggravating. Anyway, all that stuff was fine. Well, I went to pick them up at the airport last night, and it had stormed a little bit earlier in the evening. Not too bad, it was mostly rain, but I've never driven their vehicle before Monday, and I was driving it over to the airport, which I've told you my chaos on that area, because there's all sorts of construction, and I don't like it over there right now because it's very stressful. Especially if I'm trying to use the GPS and pay attention to the roads and how they're jagging back and forth and all that crap. And it started raining, and I couldn't figure out the windshield wipers. But I figured out where the thing to wash the windshield was, so I could at least hit that and have it get the water off the windshield for half a second. So that was stressful. I got there and I was struggling with all sorts of stuff. It's like, the hell is going on right now? Yeah. Anyway, got them back home. I went back home, and then went to bed. All was fine. Ish. As usual, I did my intention setting, so I didn't have to set my alarm clock or anything to get up. That I would just get up whenever I needed to be able to do all the things I want to set myself up for a good day, and give myself enough time to do all that, and still make it to her game, last game of the season, without a problem. That all was fine. The soccer game was fine. She scored her second goal, so that was good. Hung out with my brother on the sideline while his wife and our parents sat in the car and watched from there. I've told them I don't think Gracie appreciates it as much when they're in the car versus when they're actually at the sideline. And I think that's mainly because there have been games in the past where she would tell people to stop playing on their phones because they're supposed to be watching her. And hey, I'm pretty good about it since I'm not on Facebook or anything like that now. I still have the account and everything, but it's I would say less than an hour a week that I'm actually on it. Don't miss it. I mean, there's every now and then I'll go and get on, and then something will piss me off on it. And it's like, wait a second, what the hell is this all about? What's going on? It's like, yeah, I don't care enough to keep working on it and figure it out. So, yeah, it's gone. So, just log off and carry on with life. My biggest connection to anybody, even through that, is Messenger. And when I tried to log off of Messenger, it did not look like there was a way to be able to log off of Messenger anymore. So it's like, I don't know what that's all about. And it's not like anybody sends me messages that much anyway. Especially since I'm not posting random shit or doing anything like that as much anymore. So I have like 5 or 6 people that talk to me on there at all. 3 that are regular communications. So, and even though it's like, you know, I mean, we might talk a few hours every day for a week and then not talk again for 2 or 3 weeks. So it really just depends on what's going on. And I think a lot of that's me anyway. Anyway, we did. Okay, she got her soccer trophy, and all that fun stuff. And then when it was time to go, we had to wait on my brother. He ran down to the bathroom real quick, and he seemed like he had wanted to talk before he and his wife left, went the other direction. So we were hanging out and waiting on him to get back, because it was like a hike to where the bathrooms are over there. And Gracie decided she wanted to go with us. Well, he had said she was kind of a little difficult this morning. You know, she's autistic, so when she gets her mindset on wanting to do something or not wanting to do something, she can be very argumentative and difficult at times. Like randomly in the car, after she was given the go-ahead was kind of part of the issue, because Gracie and Grandma decided that Gracie should come over to Grandma's house. Grandma didn't say anything about the fact that she was meeting up with her friend that just got back in town for an hour and a half. So me and Papa would have to be on Gracie watching duty, which, not a problem, as long as it's not just assumed that I'm just going to be available and there to do whatever they try to rope me into doing. So that was kind of a little bit of a sensitive spot, because I was going to walk my dogs as per the normal. And then, you know, she goes out with her friend for at least an hour and a half. And then, you know, Gracie was fine, because she also has this thing where she gets extremely hangry. So that kid needs like some protein after a certain point in time, especially after that soccer game today. So we ended up going and getting McDonald's, and just doing that for lunch for the 3 of us that weren't going out with the friend. It was fine, but of course she started kicking my dad in the arm in the car. It's like, dude, you're gonna have to knock this off if you're gonna hang out with us, because we're not doing this today. And she's kind of rough. Mom gave my brother the heads up that if she couldn't chill, she was going to have to go home. And luckily she mostly chilled. And then I have it set up where, I have my office, and that's also my bird room. Sorry, I had a ridiculous amount of bird cages for 8 birds. It's like 3 cages, but one of them's huge. So then we go there, and the birds are screaming. So that's always fun. It's just kind of grating on my nerves kind of today. I checked on them, got their food and water situation straightened around. Birds are so gross. I have 2 cages that have water bottles on them, and then the other one has a bowl. And if they get turned around while perched on the bowl, they'll just sit there and shit in the bowl. So I had to clean that up. And always fun. But I got this amazing desk a while back. I think last year. It's like the first thing that I really got moving on the manifestation thing and realizing that, hey, this is fucking sweet. So it was kind of funny how it came around, because when it came up initially, I had been using my mom's desk that she got when she was going to school in the past 15 years. She got a desk that she liked and do her homework at it and all that fun stuff. Well, when I moved back and did not bring the desk that we'd gotten in Alabama back with me, it was okay. I'd painted it and I hadn't sufficiently sanded it or anything, so so the paint was peeling. I didn't fix that shit. But because it wasn't like super fabulous, I wasn't worried about it, so I just left it there to be his issue. So I didn't like the desk that she had, and I had gotten this little writing table on clearance at IKEA sometime when I got back. It was decent. It's got a glass top on it, and just like one little thing for, I don't know, folders or whatever the hell you want to put on it. Just one on one side, so nothing fancy. But, sorry, kind of made this makeshift corner desk. I always liked corner desks. And since I've been all into the writing stuff, I had a certain desk in mind for a long time. It's like, well, at some point I want one of these, one of the corner desks that has the big hutch on one side. And it was like, well, one day I'll do that. And every now and then I might go on to like OfferUp or whatever and look to see if they had anything decent available, or Facebook Marketplace. So this one day we were over at my grandparents' house, and while we were there, I was looking at desks on the marketplace and accidentally hit the button that says I'm interested or whatever. And At first I was like, oh shit, I didn't want to talk to anybody, let alone I'm not really sure I'm interested. I had like saved it so I could go back to it at some point, but I wasn't really feeling super committed to it. And it was just, I mean, it wasn't huge. It was just like the one side of the desk, so it wouldn't have been a corner desk or anything. And it did have a hutch, but it's like, I don't know. It was like just right over the desk. So I was like, all right, if he gets back to me, then maybe we'll talk. Maybe if it stays available, like after I get paid next, then maybe I'll get it. I think he wanted a couple $100 out of it. Don't really remember. So anyway, for that, he ended up selling it to somebody, and then I just kind of would look a lot more than I had been for a while. It's like, maybe something will show up. You never know. And one day I see this desk on there. I don't remember what brand it is, but it's this great big corner desk like I like. And it had a hutch on part of it. I was like, ooh. And it was like cherry wood, or at least it looked like cherry wood. I don't know if it actually is or not. The hutch is more like particle board in a cherry coloring. But I liked it. It was the cherry, and it had some black details on it. It's like, ooh. And I think they wanted a couple $100 for it. And that was on OfferUp, and I sent them a message to get more info out of them, and they didn't respond. And it's like, yeah, this is up in Carmel. Carmel has all those damn roundabouts, and I hate going through there. And I can't imagine having this nice desk on this trailer, going through all these roundabouts, and I mean, enough to make you freaking car sick. And it's like, yeah, I don't know that I want to do that anyway. But I kept looking, and then I found the same desks for a while, but they were slightly different. Like, one of them was a different color, and it's like, I don't like that color. And then there was another one, somebody wanted $50 just for the corner desk of it, and did not have a hutch. But it was the cherry wood. And it's like, I mean, that's feasible. I could always get the hutch later. And then I'm not sure if that one was maybe not on the first floor of an apartment building. It's like, well, I'm not carrying anything that heavy downstairs like that. Anyway, there's another one that came up, and it was, I think, like a 35-minute drive from where we're at. Wasn't too bad. And it was $200, and I sent the lady a message, said very interested. And at one point I had thought, it's like, you know what, it'd be even better if I could get one for free. So enter key manifestation point. So we got this, or I sent a message to this one lady about the desk she had. Then I see this other one pops up. It's like an hour in the other direction, but it's like a straight shot. So that's easy. And same exact desk, cherry wood, everything. And they were just trying to get rid of it. So it was for free. Of course, it was not without its imperfections, but that's no big deal. Because it still was in really great shape. But then I was like stressed out because I'd already talked to this other lady. It's like, shit. This came up after I sent her a message. And then it's like, but I'd really rather the free one. Luckily, come to find out, she had already had somebody put an offer on it, but she said she would have me down as the second in case they didn't follow through. And I was just like, hot damn. So we end up, I talked to my uncle who lives next door, and my dad and I went and went and got this desk. My dad had to take it apart there. And these people had this house. It wasn't real huge, but they had like 5 kids, so they were wanting to turn the room that had been the office into a bedroom. And so she said, I had lots of good memories, but she was just ready for it to go. Like, fair, I'm ready for it, so gimme. So, that whole process ended up being like a 2-week span of time, from once I started being interested in, or when I accidentally said I was interested in a desk that I wasn't 100% interested in, and then to actually getting it. And one of the big things was I knew Gracie was going to be like, hey, and want to share. So when I started out, I had it where it was facing the door. So the corner, I had this one wall that was exactly the right length for it. So of course, part of the L went on that side, or on that, and then the hutch went right up against that wall. I have since turned it around and put it actually in the corner. It's opened all sorts of other space up, which is nice. But I brought the writing table in and was letting Gracie have some office space. She loves going in there and teaching the birds. So then when I started rearranging it, she's like, where's my stuff going? Okay. Anyway, the whole point of all that was just because, I got this awesome desk and she wanted it, So I said we would share. I gave her, I have this, when we moved me back up here, I needed a dresser, and we found the set, also cherry wood, that has 2 nightstands with it, a dresser, and a chest of drawers. So we since I had 2 nightstands and didn't really need both of them, so I have one of them in my office, and it's got a bird cage on it. So I just let Gracie use that as a little part of her little desk area. She got a chair in there and all that fun stuff. And anytime I go to clean and her chair ends up wandering to the garage for a little bit of time, she gets all excited about taking mine over. She hadn't really been over there as much this year though, so it's kind of slowed down a bit. But yeah, still a thing. Anyway, the other day, I was sitting at my desk, or ran her off and got her chair back in there. And she was sitting in there, and she says, "When are you moving out?" It's like, look, I would love to, but it ain't right now because I'm not ready to be able to do that. She's like, okay, and I saw her wheels turning, and I knew where it was going, and I said, you do realize that when I move out, all of my stuff goes with me, right? So, yeah, you could just kind of tell she did not know that was the case. She thought my stuff would just stay there. Yeah, no. So that's fun. Little kids, man. She'll be 8, I think, in a week and a half. Yeah. Anyway, while we were in there today, it was no big deal. We were getting along fine. She was content teaching the birds, and the dog some too. She claims Taz is not a very good student, so What can you do? um, and I think the only one of the birds' names that she really knows is Buddha, my male cockatiel, or one of my male cockatiels. Because she talks to him all the time and tells him he's going to have to be running some laps and all that fun stuff. It's like, good luck making him do that, man. Anyway, we were chill. We were getting along fine. I pulled some cards. And, like, I was kind of, off because I basically had my day hijacked. And like I said, it was not really that big of a deal. But at the same time, asking if it is okay rather than just, oh yes, Gracie, you can come over, and then, oh, by the way, I'm not going to be around. It's like, we usually all tag team it. Usually she and my dad argue pretty well, so we don't prefer leaving them alone because she likes to antagonize him just for the sake of she knows she get a reaction. And so she likes the reaction. And he always gives it to her. And that's tiring, in the least. Anyway, so I drew these cards. Let me find them. I didn't bring the cards with me. I brought the information. But what it was talking about was like, shit, this is my day completely. So, it's from the Secrets of the Ancestors Oracle. And the first one was the Trickster, which is ego. It talks about ego and excess. It says, are you making unhealthy choices? Your shadow may be in charge right now. You are being seduced by unhealthy attachments. You've been stuffing down and hiding your shadow self. The ancestral trickster is a renowned tempter and mischief maker that weaves intricate webs to lure in the unsuspecting. He teaches lessons of discernment and consequences. It's like, great. This is what I wanted. But it felt entirely relevant as per the norm. The next one was the shaman. It says, trust the path. It says, setbacks are a part of your growth. There's a spiritual solution for every challenge. You have a need for the very structures and guidance you would normally run away from. You are on a path. You are trying to fit into a group, but you naturally stand out. Don't rock the boat, wounded healer. Take care of yourself. Your pains and traumas allow you to help others. Turn this energy of love inward. It's like, okay, so where's this going, right? And then the last one was Creature of Fire. It says, choose freedom. Sometimes your intense fiery energy can be all over the place, and you can be quick to anger. Get grounded, go out in nature, put your feet on earth, touch grass, calm down. Take a moment, you're doing too much. It's like, man, always relevant. So mentioned we stopped at McDonald's. Before that, we stopped at the gas station. I got a Dr. Pepper. And I had thought about not doing that. But then it's like, what the hell, I'm going to do it anyway. And so I did. And, before that, I was already feeling ungrounded and kind of all over the place and been kind of scattered the past couple days. I got these beads the other day that I was thinking were going to be like in a bracelet form. They were not. There's like a bracelet type string, but glued to the string so they wouldn't come off, but not tied, and the string wasn't a kind that would have been able to put on anyway. So I got the idea that I would get some like jewelry making stuff and maybe turn some of them into earrings and mix and match and do some bracelets and stuff. So I had to go get stuff to do that. So I was looking at Michael's, and then I looked at Hobby Lobby very, very briefly, and they had a coupon, or they had a sale where their jewelry making stuff was like half off. Like, all right, maybe. So Mom gets back from her afternoon. I walk the dogs around the empty lot next to our house for a while. Not as good as the cemetery, and the cemetery is always much more fulfilling. But dogs don't really care. Aside from the fact that every time we go up in the direction that's closest to the house, they will try to pull back and go back to the house. So if we don't go to the cemetery, that's what we deal with. So it's usually like less than half a mile if we're just there, because it's still 10 to 15 minutes and then they're ready to check out. Cemetery, we meander, so they spend a lot of time sniffing, so even if we don't go as far, they still burn some energy with the sniffing process. Yeah, so after that, okay, then Gracie got picked up, and then my brother showed me the turtle, and that whole thing was weird. And then it's like, well, I just run to Michael's, and then run to the metaphysical shop that's closer to my house than the one that I go to, then I take the classes at, and asked them about this one set, because the beads that I had gotten, I got the brown snowflake obsidian, I got the bronzite, I got the angelite, but I did not get the citrine. I was like, wait a second, what did I get? I don't know. I don't know what they are. Some of them look like labradorite. They don't all look like they are. Some of them look like moonstone. Oh. So I took them over there to see if they had any thoughts. And the girl that looked at them, she was like, you don't have much of anything that's the same. She said, I can't really, because they're beads, I can't really tell what anything is too much. But yeah, oh well. I mean, I'm gonna send the people a message anyway. I just haven't got the motivation to deal with that. I think they came yesterday, and then it's like, this is definitely not citrine that I ordered. That I know for sure. And that she said, it's definitely for sure there's nothing citrine on there. Like, yeah, I knew that. So yeah. So I asked my mom if she wanted to go, since she wouldn't do anything at that point. I said I wanted to run to Michael's and this other place to see if they knew what those beads were. Well, then it became a thing where we had to go drop some stuff off at my grandparents' house, and then, oh, we're just going to be here for a half an hour. It's like, you can drop stuff off and not just sit in there and visit the whole time, because we have other things that we were going to do. I had plans that I wanted to do, and I just asked you if you wanted to go along just for the hell of it. I did make a comment about her hijacking my day with the deal with Gracie earlier, and she's like, gave me a dirty look. It's like, I didn't hijack your day. It's like, you kind of did when you and the child agreed that Dad and I would watch her while you went out with Gail, because you neglected to say anything about going out with Gail before you agreed to allow the child to come over. So yeah, that's kind of what that is, and I didn't end up minding it, but at the same time, it was still hijacking my day. And then she mentioned, well, have you looked at Hobby Lobby for the jewelry stuff that I was looking at? It's like, I thought about it, but I really don't like going there. We ended up going there because they had their jewelry making stuff half off. It's like, I just feel so, yeah, it's not my favorite place to be. Never really has been, but I mean, especially now that I'm aware of energies that are coming at me from any kind of place. So I got that Eye of Horus necklace the other day, and the chain ended up being shorter on it than I had anticipated. So when I wear it, it's usually outside of my shirt. All the rest of them are usually in my shirt. Mainly keep them from clacking around all the time. If I had them out of my shirt, every time I bend over that I'd have to hear them. All that fun stuff. Who wants to do that? But just, and then we went to Aldi's after that, and it's like, nothing has made me feel better today. So it's like, I think I need a skate. And I'm glad I've been doing that, but I've been talking so much that I've probably not gotten into it as much as I would have otherwise. Although that's okay. I feel like good days and bad days are part of the freaking life. Just hit 4 miles. But yeah, it's not been a real intense skate, but I knew it wouldn't, just because I just needed to get out and be outside. And obviously the sun's going down, so kind of like limit on time anyway. But anyway, I have like the sage spray. This morning I didn't do the sage spray, I should have. And it's white sage. And when I was taking Lenita's class back in January, she said if you use the white sage, you need to follow it up with something to invite in whatever positive intentions that you want. And so I got this intention spray, the one that there's happiness is one of them. The other one is Pretty Dope Soul, and it says, love yourself exactly as you are, you're worth it, you are enough. It's like, yeah, I used that this morning. I didn't use the other one. I should have used the other one too. But I always followed up with either of those. Gracie had one day, she came in and was having a meltdown, and her parents came in to pick her up, and it was just like, she wasn't wanting to go to her dance class, and she had practice that night, and she was being difficult on that end. And it was kind of fun, and it lightened the mood when I went back and got the happiness spray. I said, Gracie, you need to be more happy, and I sprayed her with it. She's like, what? And then she started laughing, so I seemed to do something. At least made it, then we were all kind of laughing at each other for a little bit, briefly. Yeah. Anyway, like I was saying, I feel like the good days and the bad days both are worthy of addressing. And like, it's not been a bad day, it's just kind of been my day getting hijacked. Yeah. And I do feel better now that I've been out here for, I don't know, like 45 minutes or better. I got my 4 miles in. Not done, sun's not down yet, so yeah. But yeah. And I've been kind of trying to figure out when I was going to do like the videos this week, because last week worked so nicely. Borrowing somebody's house. And then, I still have that availability this week, but it's cats rather than a dog, and they're way less appreciative of the company. Although I do need to spend more time with them. The past couple days just kind of been, but yeah. So I'll be spending some time over there, and I'll probably do a couple videos over there, but I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. Hopefully the quality on this one doesn't get all jacked up like the other one did the other day. And hear the little kid in his sport bike. So he'll probably be over here in my face in a minute. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I kind of just figured the skating would be the start of trying to shift the energy for this evening. So I did spray myself with the white sage and the intention spray. And then earlier when I walked the dogs, when I walk them around the side lot, I walk barefoot. So I'm just walking in the grass because it's so nice. And get some grounding in that way. And they're less likely to poop in the side lot, thankfully, because I don't know why. Sometimes they do, but it's less of a thing like it is when we go to the cemetery. And Gidget's starting to realize that it's okay to do all your business there. And now when we stop, Ziva usually stops to pee on spots other people or other dogs have peed on. Taz does too. They usually will take turns, but now we're at a point where they will all squat together. It's like, oh, lovely. As long as they're not peeing on each other, I don't care, whatever. But yeah. Ouch. My neck has been all jacked up for like a couple weeks. And I don't know if I might have pinched a nerve when I was weeding for the same family friends. It's kind of hurt ever since that time frame. So it's either that or something else. I don't know. Yeah, like turning my head that way is not really ideal. So that sucks. Try to figure that out. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, like I'm enjoying my skating, but I'm really going to enjoy the part where I go home and take a shower and scrub with the Epsom salt to try to get rid of the bad energy. Oh, it's heavy today. I don't like it. And I know, what do you do with that? I know that it is part of my whole purpose in being here. As far as collecting and transmuting energies that aren't mine. But God, some days. And, I am realizing how all over the place, like, it's like when it's good, it's good, and when it's bad, oh my God, it sucks. And I think there's a lot to be said with the fact that my cycle goes right along with the cycle of the moon, and feeling that I'm very easily swayed by what's happening with the moon as well. And yeah, I feel it. It's heavy. There's just a lot going on right now with me personally, or just energetically. Because it's like nothing really bad's been going on. It's just heavy energies and getting walloped with those. And the whole shadow thing, yeah, because I gotta figure out when that kind of shifts in and takes over. But that I have always found that I feel like some kind of connection with I don't know if I'm going to say this right, but I'm going to say it. Hecate, the goddess of the underworld, or however that works. One of the dark goddesses. I watched a video that was talking about the dark goddesses, and when it talked about her, it was talking about the magic, or the witch initiator, and bringing out your witchy gifts. It's like, well, there's definitely something going on, because like that whole turtle thing, that's gonna mess with me until I talk to somebody that has an opinion about it, I think, probably. Yeah. It's like weird stuff is happening more and more. That's definitely one of the weirdest with lately, as of yet anyway. But and okay, going back to that connection with her, I watched that Gem Goddess video back in 2020 where she said black dogs are important. Well, then when I was looking up stuff about this dark goddess, it talks about she's usually with her hounds, and of course they're black dogs. It's like, yeah, well, connection. And whole underworld thing. And I've talked frequently about how my life has been virtually a dark night of the soul. And I feel like sometimes I feel like I'm coming out of that, and sometimes I feel like days like today, and it's like, what am I doing? What the hell is happening? But the big thing is, like, nobody is entirely dark or light. And anybody that wants to tell you otherwise is full of crap and denying something in themselves. So when I've thought about Tyler, it's like he was always like, he represented the light to me. But there was still some darkness. And that more came up and out around the time of his death. It was a health thing, but still, it was, I don't know, it was still obvious that there was some kind of component of running from the darkness in himself even. Me, on the other hand, I feel like I always felt like I was full darkness and trying to find the light. And, I've mentioned that I was always drawn to, like, the yin yang before. And, I've been realizing more and more recently that, hey, there's reason for that. There's always darkness in the light, always light in the darkness. No one thing is ever completely just that one thing. And like, there's been a lot of my own healing process. I've had to deal with the aspects of myself that were, would maybe be seen as darker. And I've struggled with that because I always tried to kill that part of me. And now I'm realizing that I really can't. And I mean, look at the sun and the moon anyway, right? There's the cycle thing, and we go through them too. And, that may be very difficult at times. But everything has a purpose. So trying to figure out that purpose, and also the balancing act of accepting that it's there and not being consumed by it. 5 miles. Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out the balance there, I guess. And, on the days when I feel all these heavy energies weighing me down more, then it's like, okay, but what do I do with this too? And today I think it's skate and then shower and use the salt scrub, lots of the salt scrub, and then sage myself all over again. And again with the intention spray and all that. And shit, if that doesn't, or all that doesn't do it, then maybe I'll go back and take a bath too. With lots of salt. Because yeah, it does help. Yeah. And of course, with my inner crab, water is extremely healing. I found this article today. It's just on like the Google page that comes up on my phone. It talked about 3 signs that have to heal their inner child before, I don't know what the last half of it was, but they have to do the inner child healing first. Of course, it's all the water signs, duh. Like, I didn't even have to look at it and know that. And of course, Cancer's first. It's like, yep, that's me. Yeah, it's Cancer, Scorpio, and then Pisces. And so, and it talks about the inner child healing is especially important for the sign of Cancer, because the sign of Cancer rules the 4th house, which is home and family. And so of course we pick up and have a hard time releasing, the stuff that's not ours, but also just the heavy stuff we pick up from family. And then because of our tendency to hang on to the past, not gonna argue that, it's just something that we have to deal with first. And I don't remember who wrote it. I couldn't even find it when I accidentally clicked out of it and tried to get back to it. Popped up a bunch of different other stuff. My cousin that I skate with is a Pisces. I sent her our 2 things, and it was like, I told her what the article was, and said, of course, it's all the water signs. 'Cause we're all about the feelings. Whether you want to feel them or not, you end up feeling them. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to, I don't know. It's almost dark, but I kind of feel like I could potentially get 2 more miles in and end on 7. Either way, I'm going to focus on skating so I can actually skate a little harder and maybe sweat out some more of this icky energy. Man, it's just been a day, and I'm just going to go ahead and set the intention now that tomorrow will not be like this at all. Tomorrow's going to be a great day, and of course it will. Me and Erin are going to come skate for God only knows how much time, and her parents are going to the 500, so they won't make her feel bad if she ends up skating with me for 4 hours and we get that 20 miles in. I don't know that we will. I don't know that we won't. Last time we only set out, well, we didn't really have a plan, but we started, well, my phone alerted me at 4 miles, and then I didn't notice it again until 12 miles, so it was just like, ooh, where'd the time go? And she, right, no, that was one of those, I think, best pace ever days, interestingly enough, even though we were talking the entire time. It was like 10-minute, 47-second mile, so that was impressive. No, I think it was less than 47 seconds. I think 47 seconds is what I did the other day when I got a 10-minute and whatever second mile by myself. And that was just surprising because I think it was the last time I did a video, and it's like, skating video, and it's like, oh, it just kind of snuck up on me. So, well, with any luck, this one won't be jacked up like the other one did with the glitchy spots. If it does get glitchy like that, I don't know that I would post it. in which case that would be very disappointing for me, since I just spent an entire hour talking to my phone and not skating as hard as I had thought I might. I really only planned on doing like a 20-minute video again. But alas, here we are, because I talk a lot. Apparently, this is why it's part of my process, is because I got to get it out of my system somehow. Now this way, well, sharing it with all of you fine people, if there's you fine people out there, there will be one day. Yeah. Anyway, I think the worst thing about skating, well, two of the things that are kind of annoying me this video, is I have the tendency to keep dropping my hand down here rather than holding it up, and then it's easier to look at the picture on my phone rather than the camera spot. So that's probably going to annoy me, but hey, as long as the audio works well, I'll probably go ahead and post it one way or another, regardless of how the video is, just because this is a long time. That's a lot I needed to get out of my system, and now it's out of my system, at least for now. Until I go finish the rest of the cleansing process and getting it completely out of my system. In my fun shirt, I am the night, and I feel like that's going with my darkness conversation there for a few. That's kind of, hey, yep, that's me. Anyway, as always, I appreciate you, and until the next time, see ya.